Another iconic model from Navi who's made her reappearance back in Medarot 7 and has maintained a very consistent place in the Medarot library and roster in pretty much any other game prior to. It is BLZ00 Blazermate, with a kit of Cybercore, Repair, Restore, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Holy Grace, which buffs all leg stats, excluding HP and HV limit, for every positive effect active on self. Now honestly, much like I said with Otogi Princess, who shook up the meta with healing, Blazermate also essentially does the same, because she is basically a one-woman healer, as she is both able to restore lost HP, restore lost parts, and has a leg ability that allows her to make use of that and do it even faster, thanks to the ability thanks to the skill that her head gives. Cybercore, of course, we've seen it before. It's the radar sight buffs to self, and then the removing of stealth or conceal effects on the ally, along with extra bonuses, which are always nice. Which means upon use of Cybercore, you are getting not one but two positive effects right from square one the moment that buff goes into play. Which means that the leg ability Holy Grace is already going to be benefiting from that hugely, and her speed is already going to be going from fast to almost near Mach 1. And I'm honestly not joking. She goes wickedly fast, whether she is an ally or a target, whenever she has more than 2 buffs active with Holy Grace triggering. That means, as well, you can repair and restore parts faster, and even restore or maybe heal more than once, depending on how fast she gets, so that you can maybe make use of one before a potential nuke comes in and maybe offset some lost damage, and keep someone from potentially biting the bullet or taking the nuke at face value and losing a lot more than they could have. For that reason, as a pure set score, I'd rate her about a 7.5 out of 10. She is very versatile on the field as a healer and a supporter. She also has one of the fastest biped legs in the game for females. So even just at start, she's already going to be one of the fastest on the field to make use of her healing and make use of Cybercore. Honestly, the best way to use her is that for her first turn, you would use Cybercore at first, so you already have that Holy Grace triggering on her for her doubled speed, more or less, and then you also have everyone else on the team that's benefiting from that boost to their stats. And then you essentially just charge Metaforce back and forth, and only use Repair, Restore when absolutely necessary. So maybe you could use her as maybe like a passive Metaforce spammer or Metaforce nuker or supporter for those extra buffs along the way. As mixed parts, I'd rate her just a little bit higher at an 8 out of 10 for utility and versatility. So if in the case you decide not to use Blazermate for healing, you can always still make use of the Holy Grace ability if you pair her head and her legs together. But say, for instance, if you choose to pair off the arms with maybe Hardness 10, for instance, for the Power Rifle and Mega Gatling duo, one use of Cybercore and you're already going to be zooming back and forth from taking pot shots before and even finishing your cooldowns, which leave you with no defend or no evade from Power Rifle or Mega Gatling. You could finish those cooldowns well before the target even makes it to the line, which means you're already in the clear and already set to be able to guard or evade attacks without the drawback of the no defend, no evade getting in your way. So if you are going to use Blazermate, she's definitely not going to make you sorry for it. The only particular drawback that she has is that her restore only restores and brings back one part at a time, in contrast to maybe someone like Otogi Princess, whose all restore can bring back maybe one part to every ally across the build. But even despite that, restore is still a very solid skill to make use of, as more often than not, having a part back at 10% HP is honestly better than not having it at all. Legs especially are important in this case, where if your legs go down, you are more or less crippled and you are a duck sitting in water. So if you're going to make use of Blazermate as a supporter, as your healer, she's basically your all-around support and cheerleader type, essentially. Even if you decide not to use her in that respect and you choose to pair her with offense-based arms, you will definitely not go wrong with using Blazermate anywhere on your team.